Now, all through these last some odd 30 lessons, I have used the word and the term founding fathers. Right now, we're going to describe what we mean when we say founding fathers. What does that mean to you, first of all? Founding fathers. Drew?
People who were at the Constitutional Convention.
People who were at the convention? Is that all? How many were there? Do you know?
54.
There were 55 who started, 31 who were at the end. So is that all the people that we're talking about when we say the founding fathers? Okay. Other people who may not have been there but had good ideas? Ronnie?
The people who helped make this country.
Okay. Let me introduce you to a few of those people. When we say, who are the founders? What is this a picture of? Signing of the Constitution. And as Drew said, at least we can include the 55 who attended the Constitutional Convention. In your book, I want you to open to the first page where it describes the founders, Roman numeral 15, XV, Roman numeral 15. And you see there a beginning of the description and the pictures of each of the 55 who attended the convention. I ask you, if you're going to study the Constitution, wouldn't it be reasonable to know a little bit about some of the founding fathers that wrote it? And so as we undertake this study of the actual document, we're going to learn a little bit about some of these men. Now I want you to turn to the page following this, Roman numeral 30, XXX. And there you see 2 pages of names. And the page is entitled Additional Personalities Quoted in Connection with the Ratification Debates. So who else is Dr. Skousen including in the term founding fathers? People who what? People who tried to get the states to ratify it, even though they may not have been at the convention. And so, if you were to count those up, you would have 66. Do you recognize some names there?
Yeah.
Some pretty popular names that we have already quoted many times. 2 of them, John Adams, the very first one, and the first one on the next page, Thomas Jefferson. They were not at the convention, but they were definitely instrumental in helping to ratify the Constitution. So if we take the 55 who attended the convention plus the 66 others who participated in the ratification process, I want to focus on those. How many generally would that give us when we say founding fathers? How many? 55 plus 66, about 120, 121 people whom we can actually say these are founding fathers. Would there be others? Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And of course we don't want to leave out the founding mothers. There were some of those great women who supported these great men and who did lots of other things to help bring about this. So I want you to turn back now to some of these. I just want to introduce to you some of these people that we call the founding fathers. First one, who is this? Benjamin Franklin. Turn to page XIX, Roman numeral 19. What Dr. Skousen has done in these few pages, if you'll notice, he's given the name, the years that they lived, where they were from, and then he's given a little description of the things they accomplished. Do you see that there? For example, Franklin. Do you see that at the end of each description is a little paragraph in quotes? Do you all see this? You say, who's he quoting here? There was one of the 55 delegates whose name was Major William Pierce. His description is in here also. He was from Georgia. Do you know that Major William Pierce made no comment in the whole 4-month period of the convention? Didn't say a word. All he did is write. What do you think he wrote?
What everyone said.
There were several others there, including the secretary, including James Madison, who actually wrote down what they said. Major William Pierce didn't write down what they said. He wrote down how what they said was so believable. In other words, what were they like in their personalities? What made them so great to make them so believable? And what we've done here in this book is picked up a little paragraph from the writings of Major William Pierce and put that in here. And that's what you see in quotes. So look at Benjamin Franklin's description. Would you be interested in seeing what other people thought of him? Here it is. Well known, let's see, put that up there. Well known to be the greatest philosopher of the present age. He goes on to say, all the operations of nature he seems to understand. Look at the next phrase. The very heavens obey him. What do you think about that? The very heavens obey him. And the clouds yield up the lightning to be imprisoned in his rod. He is a most extraordinary man. Benjamin Franklin. Okay, who's another one? Alexander Hamilton. Turn to Hamilton. Top of page Roman numeral 20. Look at the last two lines of the description of Major William Pierce of Alexander Hamilton. He said, there is no skimming over the surface of a subject. He must sink to the bottom to see what foundation it rests on. What kind of an impression do you get from Hamilton by reading that? He is very thorough. Who wrote most of the 85 Federalist Papers? Do you know this? Alexander Hamilton. As you read the Federalist Papers, his logic, his reasoning goes right down to the bottom. Very detailed. That's Alexander Hamilton. Okay? He must sink to the bottom to see the foundation. Here's another one. James Madison. The last few words of the description of his colleague says, James Madison, one of the ablest members that ever sat in that council. What impression would you have of James Madison by reading this? This guy really knew his stuff. He was the most able man at the convention. And that's why, or one of the reasons, that James Madison is called the father of the Constitution. And when we get to studying the actual convention, you'll see what he did to prepare himself to get there. So James Madison was one of the best informed men